The real reason for asking questions, you know what, let's do a little rant on this. I often say that service to humanity is man's greatest work in life. We get back in direct proportion to what we give to the universe. But you got to give if you want to get. That's the law. The real reason for asking questions is to guide a conversation. Like, that's one of the most powerful things. Questions are useful. I did a training program. In fact, I did a speech years ago when I first got started in Toastmasters. One of the first speeches that I went out and gave at local clubs and organizations was called The Power of Q, the power of asking questions. Because if you learn how to ask questions effectively, you can get anything you want in life. You can get the information you want. You can persuade people to do things that you want them to do, but by asking questions, finding out what their reasons are. You can get people talking. You can, in fact, one of the things I heard years ago, there was a guy from Australia, I'm trying to think of his name, but he spoke at a meeting I was at, and he said this, I've never forgotten it. He or she who asks the questions controls the conversation. He or she who asks the questions controls the conversation. And not in a manipulative way like, oh, I'm going to dominate the question, but you guide the conversation. And so a lot of us get in the habit of asking just because we haven't thought about it or been taught or whatever, of asking yes, no questions. And the conversation ends, it's dead. So you say, hey, would you like to go eat? And they go, yes or no. Well, you've kind of gotten a little further down the road. But if you knew that, hey, honey, I want us to go out to eat tonight, you wouldn't say, hey, do you want to go out to eat? You'd want to say, hey, where do you want to go out to eat tonight? Well, then he or she has to think about answers to that question, not whether or not we're going. It's assumed that we're going. Where do we want to go? And so that's giving people an option of doing that. But questions are so powerful, and there's like a whole different mechanism for asking questions and different types of questions. You've got choice questions, and you say, hey, would you like A, B, or C? And there's open-ended of, what do you think about, or why do you believe that? Where it gets people really opening up and talking. And so using questions and doing what you said, knowing what that answer is before you ask that question, knowing where you want that conversation to go is extremely powerful.